Not being able to forget painful moments. Does anyone have those? Does that mean the marriage is doomed? Memories you can't forget that were some painful. I've had many arguments with my husband over the past decade. Many of those were petty, and we quickly forgot, but there were several that were so painful they always left me confused. There are a couple of memories in my mind I could never forget. I forgave him for sure, but didn't forget. My first memory is when I gave birth to our first child. He just wasn't there for me, and I couldn't handle postpartum well. Second, he was never there to help out and take initiative. When we both worked and went to school full-time and took care of a baby, he still left all the domestic work to me while spending hours on video games. He acts really inconsiderate at times. His proposal was so lame. He didn't do anything special at all or put any thought. He just walked into the bedroom while I was waking up after the package came and asked me, "Is this normal? Maybe this is something I'm overreacting on?" He also complained to me a few weeks after that my ring was too expensive. My ring was $570. And I told him that we should just get cheap plain bands on Etsy because we're broke. When he brought up making it official, he insisted on getting me a nicer one. Then he got mean when we were broke several weeks later and told me that it's because he bought that ring for me. It made me feel so uncomfortable and awkward. The vows, he didn't put any effort into them. The night before he said, "Oh yeah, I haven't written the vows yet." He started in putting them into his phone, and I asked if he could put it on paper so that I can keep it with mine. He said, "Now we can just print it later. I'm not gonna write much." Does this dude actually love me? He says he loves me very much all the time, and that I'm his soulmate. That he has never been loved the way I love him. The night we got married, we went to our fancy hotel with the hot tub. Yeah, I married him anyway after crying the night before when I saw how he treated his vows. When the ceremony happened and our eyes locked, I actually felt it. And I saw it in him. I thought he does love me. He's kind of selfish in the bedroom. He doesn't want to accept a no, but when I try, he always rejects me. I never rejected him, but then I noticed that every time I wanted to have sex, he would reject me. Obviously, that created resentment, and I started to say no once in a while when I didn't feel like it, and he acts mean. He requests me to do. I feel mentally unwell, like I'm numb. He always says he's going to do something, but doesn't keep his word. I have a hard time believing things now, and it makes it hard for me to trust him. When I bring up a hurtful thing, he invalidates me, smirks at me, gets mean, and just walks off. I never feel better knowing always feel worse. There's no meaningful communication. He never calls me from work to check up on me, but he talks to other friends and family all the time. Some of these are video gaming friends he has never met. Our couples counselor asked us to sit down and do this one communication exercise. She assigned it 3 weeks in a row, and then another counselor assigned it to us, and he refused to do it with me. The exercise had to do with figuring each other's values. In over 6 years, we've gone on 2 dates. That I organized. I'm not sure if this is normal, but my love language is quality time. So I told him how I wanted a regular date night. Maybe once every 2 months. So we could get out of the house, go do something fun instead of just working and being a parent. And we can talk uninterrupted. He said, "Yeah, you're right, we totally should." I asked him to take initiative and surprise with a date once in a while. A few months ago, as we were talking and have a good week, he said, "I want to take you to this place," and he showed me this restaurant he wanted to check out. I said, "Sounds great. When?" And he said, "Ik sometime," and he never brought it up again. There's just a lot of words without any action. Our second pregnancy was probably the worst phase in our relationship. We didn't have sex. He slept on the couch. I felt so unwell that whole pregnancy, like I didn't even have a partner. On the day I went into labor, I was deep in contractions. I got to 7 or 8 centimeters dilated, but the nurse on the phone insisted my contractions weren't consistent enough to go in yet. I walked and crawled around miserably from the bathroom to the hallway to the bedroom. My husband looked back and then kept playing video games. Eventually he said, "Are you like in labor?" I said, "Can you stop tapping so hard on the keyboard?" I was all hypersensitive during the contractions. He didn't come up to comfort me at all. That's crazy to me now that I reflect. Finally, I started making painful noises, and he said into the headset, "All right, boys, I guess it's time to go to the hospital." I felt degraded. He checks out other women in front of me like in an obvious way. His phone is locked by like 7 passwords. A joke. Not literally 7, but just imagine. We have a strong physical connection from where I feel it. When he touches me, it's like a magnet. I love him, but I think he just uses me like a maid and FCK buddy. Whenever he wants to get laid, he'll do a chore and then advertise it. Ick. Are these normal men behaviors? That's not true love, it is. I feel disrespected, and there's such a lack of effort. I feel like that's a love component for me, but I've also never experienced that healthy kind of love. I hope to someday. I need to work on myself. Please don't write the mean comments about how I should have known better and not married him. I know that now, and it hurts. I'm a dumbass who allowed myself to get so badly disrespected for a decade.